resigns, but yesterday he stepped aside. And so people are demanding, no, we want you out. So we'll see how that plays out, because today there is a planned demonstration against this injustice. They want to make sure that Lagat goes home. They're demanding for justice for Juang. At the same time, we'll also touch a little bit on the battle for Mount Kenya's soul between President Uhuru Kenyatta, or as Muzungus would say, Uhuru Kenyatta, and Rigathi Gachagua. All right? Beautiful. We have Mureithi Muito with me in the studio. Mureithi, there's been a lot of calls. If you look at the dailies, if you look almost everywhere, including the former Chief Justice, Maraga, is threatening to go to court and institute proceedings against the top cops. Now, first and foremost, do you support the move by Lagat to step aside?
Let me start by first appreciating the moment.
Yes.
Good morning, viewers. What we are experiencing today is just a piecemeal of what we would have wished to have taken place.
Yeah.
The ultimate of it all is an arrest to the culprits.
Arrest to the including the DIG.
Including the DIG.
Yes.
There is a saying in my native community where I come from. Each one of us has something which they call tribal. From the Kikuyu community, we say there is no one who is watching for the thief to steal.
Yes.
Both of them are working in cahoots. So the one who gave the orders, the one who complained, the one who made the DCI do the arrests, and if the DCI officials did something in between them and the delivery of Ojwang to the police station, they would also their case would be looked into. And what transpired at the police cells and any other place, including what they were talking about, Karura. Everybody is supposed to be checked, and everybody is a suspect who is along that line.
Yes. Everybody who is involved in the entire case.
That includes
from the DIG, the DCI director,
the junior officers,
the junior officers, the OCS, deputy OCS,
who at some point we thought is an alibi, and it could be an alibi, of course, in a very big racket. That does that thing. Now, stepping aside is not the solution. You heard that he left some assignments to the one who his assistant. How do you give orders when you ought to have surrendered your rights? Where is the voice of the Inspector General? Because he's the one who is supposed, after the absence, let me call it the absence of the DIG under such circumstances, not just a normal absenteeism, under such circumstances, he's supposed to reorganize his police force. He is the one who's supposed to be in charge. He was supposed to respond to an order.
The Inspector General.
Yes, the Deputy Inspector General is supposed to respond to an order conveyed to him through his boss, the IG, that, hey, you need to step aside. And so he responds to it. He's not waking up in the morning and say, okay, I choose to step aside. Nani, endelea na hiyo kazi hapo na ushughulike hapa. Hii maneno, hii ingine funika hii fungulia,
because the directives,
how do you give directives?
He operated as though somebody is going
He's like
going
on a trip. Yes. How do you leave directives? That's why the demand is resign, because stepping aside is like being on leave. That's how he takes it. That's how casual he takes it, which is not right. He's supposed to resign because stepping aside and leaving instructions, it means the guy knows too well you're still in command. The powers of the deputy IG are not really as per, it's not really the laws that are there that governs and regulations. I think the political play, you've seen how politicians have behaved. The most vocal rights senators, like the leader and many others, and other senators and MPs also in parliament, none of them is talking. Yeah, they're not talking. It's just a statement here, a statement there, political statement there, but not quite hitting the nail on the head, because hawezi gonga mahali sosi iko ya kukulia, and that's the nature of our politicians. So it's not about the death. So the Deputy Inspector General
needs to resign.
Resigned.
Not step aside.
Not step aside.
Yes.
He should
What if
not
he's
have
innocent?
strings attached.
What if he's innocent?
You see,
Because we may as well be doing mob justice.
unless the dad is gagged. It is said.
Unless the who?
The dad is gagged. His statement, they might say it was done on media, was that my son had to be uncuffed to sign his statement. So how do you say there's no statement? There's no record with the police.
Yes.
And that was at the police station. He had an opportunity to make calls. He explained everything that had taken place. So, of course, the father was not speaking from a point of ignorance, even if it was a communication between the two of them. And the matter was too fresh and so new for them to have cooked up something while in that state of mind. So I tend to believe what came out, that if there was no booking and there is a hand of a police officer on a victim, it means then there are some steps that were skipped. And that is explaining negligence in the police force, which is not right. So I think once the matter is taken to court, they will have to produce all this evidence.
And the police spokesperson.
The police spokesperson also...
Because the guy came out and told us that Juang hit his head on the wall. I believe you're supposed to do DD, Kabisa. You're supposed to do due diligence. Before you make such an announcement to the public that this guy hit his head. As in, who in the world would believe that? The fact that he believed that, for me, is a concern.
Yeah.
And the question is, maybe he believed that because of the person who gave him the information.
He was part of the conspirators because you see, he came up with this thing without digging into it. And like I said, I use the word casual. That's how sometimes the police handles issues with that kind of casualness, I would say. And that's why you could hear, the position of a spokesman of the National Police Service is like the position of a secretary general in a political party or a secretary in a board meeting. You're supposed to verify whatever records you have, every step the company takes, every step the organization takes, you are supposed to have your tentacles in all these areas. And it is not even wrong for you to have your own people to inform you when the contrary information comes in. So when you make such declaration, it means it explains some professional negligence. That's something that this gentleman, the spokesman, can be arrested of, while others are going to face abuse of office and all these kinds of things, forceful, for using force in arrest and all this kind of. There'll be lots of definitions, lots of definitions in the counts that will be leveled against either of the people who actually participated in this whole thing. So what I'm trying to say here is that this case, having taken a new twist after Mukwana, is now again causing this net us to realize that there is more of the net that is inside there, and there's some fish clinging onto it, which are already caught. And so as they continue pulling it, that's what we're seeing now.
We're going to start seeing new things.
Yes, Mukwana decided, nyinyi kama hamnitetei, yata Mr. Watetea, he spilled the beans, Talam posed as an alibi, a scapegoat at some point. only to discover that, of course, he was adhering to some orders, knowing too well his, I mean, the parameters of his mandate. So he was supposed to act accordingly. He had the right to resign or do anything or refuse, but he had the right to do, the right to act right.
If you look at the police structure, you're almost, the training makes it almost impossible for you to say no.
Unless under special circumstances. That option is there, even in military.
Yes.
Unless under special circumstances, you can defy. We have seen that when you are on the ground, when you're at it, you the individual, and it has come to a point where now what you're telling me from the base is not really feasible and is not applicable here on ground. Now your wisdom will not have to apply. You know, and that's where I'm saying that at that point they were actually the ones on the ground, on the battlefield. The guys on the base are the ones who are saying, "Tocha usiue, gonga, you know usiue." But you see, you're hitting an asthmatic person. You're hitting a sick person. Then you've realized, tumemnyonga tu kidogo, si kama wale wengine wananyongwa kidogo wanakaa wanasurvive, huyu ameanguka tu nakai na nakai. So you know these kind of things, and I'm saying this with a lot of pain because I remember like at some point I was arrested in at Jogoro police station, and those days that's 1999. That's 1999 during the Moi era. Police stations were notorious. I thought these things changed later on. There were some guys who have the business with the police. They get arrested every Friday. So I was told by the guys inside.
They get arrested.
Yeah, they take themselves to the cell every Friday to do this work of beating up, and also ransacking the fellow inmates because there's some areas you could maybe fix something like money, especially where I'd put mine. They could have reached it. The police could have reached it. So. These are the guys who can actually, I mean, they can undress you.
What?
They can beat you up and undress you under the orders of the police. So
you know, yesterday I hosted two guys here in the morning, and one of them told me something that shocked me. Told me that one of their members of parliament had been arrested during the demonstrations. You remember the 2020 what? The Uhuru demonstrations. He was arrested, taken to Central Police Station. And then at almost midnight at the Central Police Station, what you're saying, some guys were brought in. These guys are said to have been arrested in the streets. You look at them, they look streetish.
And
like
a scary way.
Yes.
These are the people who use.
Beat him up and sodomized him.
So I was told by a friendly cop, unajua kule tunapata. We used to meet along Hamza. That's where they used to patrol those areas. And he told me, kuwa mgumu. I trained some bit of martial arts. So I picked the roughest guy, and this is what we are trained in martial arts. Pick the roughest, pick the police. Pick the boss, pick the big kahuna in the cell.
And the rest will scatter.
I had planned it's him and him alone, and once I deal with him, everybody else will have to conform. So I picked the guy because there were orders that I should clean the toilets. And the toilets I'm supposed to clean, urine plus all waste is actually near the cell, and there's one room which I was actually put in isolation, where urine was actually above my ankles. So by the time I left that cell at 2 a.m., my shoes were as white as this daily, this paper.
So disgusting.
That is how it works. Because I refused to clean the toilet. I told the guy, I'll deal. You make me wash the toilet. He never had that. So there was some guy who claimed to have known me from Jerusalem, yet I never met him. I was from Jericho those days. So that's how the story was. Unamjua, hujamwache, huni mtu wetu, mimi si mtu wao.
They're trying to trick you.
Yes. So that's how police used to behave those days. And I thought when it now became under the new constitution and it became the National Police Service, I thought that maybe there'll be some decorum and some bit of respect of the people who are being arrested, respect of human rights on the people they arrest. Because as a suspect, you remain innocent until proven guilty. That's the law. And like we made reference to Article 49 and Article 50, they have your rights, which it is right from the point of arrest and even in court, both for the one who is complaining, the complainant, and the defendant. So all this is covered there. So what I'm trying to say is that there was no cause for, causing the country to go into such mayhem last week, and also the planned demos for, I think, today. It was not right. He was supposed to have stepped aside a long time ago. But if you are very keen, now politically,
Yes.
The leader of majority in Senate had already mentioned the incompetence of the IG at some point in a rally.
Yes.
You complain over the IG, not over this issue alone, but the things that are taking place. I think is what had taken place somewhere. Is it in Baringo or somewhere? And they complained bitterly. But you see, this is how politically it plays. When you want your man to assume the next position, blame the one on top. That's why.
That's why you could say to unseat the top guy.
Revisit the day the IG made the statement that the guy banged his head on the wall, and how they were watching him doing this. if you study images and human body language, you would understand. Sema hiyo jaribu dhubutu kutoa vingine, because what I saw is, say it. They were very keen on it, like we were keen on this other side listening. So explaining banging yourself and hurt your nose, hurt your mouth, hurt your head, the back of your head, there's a cut here, all these things happening, doing these things by yourself, because we heard that there was a cut at the back at his nape.
Yes.
So if there was a cut, then he must have been so
he must have been very meticulous, very violent to himself. And his first cut his head, then he banged the head, banged the nose, all these kind of injuries that could be spotted on his body. It's not right. Neither does compensation bring back the child. It doesn't matter how many millions.
No matter how many millions you pay. Taking care of the burial could be a preparation for another rally. Upinzani wasiongee tushalipia hii. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm just trying to say, if the MC will allow everybody else to speak, because the government will speak.
Yes.
So it has paid for it.
Yes.
Yeah. How much? 3 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're about, yeah.
Yeah, 3 million. To cater for the burial. For themselves.
Yes.
So that hires the stage, hires the ground, hires the platform. It's not in the interest of the parents.
It is to the interest of the
politics.
So I know now, politics will
play major.
Do you see the former Chief Justice and former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua going for the?
How much has he contributed to the preparation of the burial, to the preparation of the stage? It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. This is what happens.
Yes.
When you see a burial turning into a political ground, somebody must have paid for it. So what they do, people pay for it. Politicians, they pay for it in the name of supporting the family.
Yes.
Will you deny them the mic?
No, you can't.
In appreciation.
Do they determine? Do they determine who speaks what he says?
But if I was the good MC in that event, I'd be very keen to balance.
You put both ODM.
The only problem is that anywhere, and I want to believe that, of course, Raila Odinga will be there.
Yes.
This is his home turf, and I believe the president might choose not to be there, or he can be there. But
if you were the president, would you go there?
My friend, Politics, politics, politics.
Your people are accused of killing the young man. Then obviously some overzealous guy is going to find some connection to the president's people. Would you go there?
Depends on how much analytic propaganda would be actually peddled against State House, both in social media and in mainstream media. That will now advise the State House intelligence
to know whether
to attend or not to attend,
yes.
Because it will explain what the ground is thinking. It's like now. It's like now. Stepping aside and resigning.
The ground has already shown where
it has already shown you where it stands. So if you want to really keep Kenya in chaos or keep Kenyans in demos, then it means keep on to this line of stepping aside. But if he resigns,
yes,
then now will be the push for IPOA and the investigative organs to release their findings so that now the matter can be put in court and begin now the process for justice. But what is now happening at the moment is just politics. You saw the knee-jerk whatever by the CS for Interior that we are going to have CCTV.
Yes.
I'm trying to imagine when the police stations started to be digitized during Kibaki reign.
Yes.
Then at some point, things went lal.
They were being digitized. Oh yeah, I remember Moody Awori did an amazing job.
An amazing job.
Yes.
They started digitizing it. Now the people who want to use a rogue police organization, they wouldn't like these systems to work. You know.
So you support that move by the CS Interior?
What I'm saying
to
is
have all police stations under surveillance. And the question is also, if it's surveillance,
you see,
do you put it in the cells? Do you put it in the OB room? Do you put it in the public?
That's the big that's the big question.
Because if we had one for
which was messed up, the ones at Central Police Station. And it's not an issue of introducing it now. It's not a thing that should be introduced now. I mean, CCTVs have been in existence. Yes. It means the police force is not so keen on what happens. How do you again make it an issue of discussion that a development plan that you're going to have CCTVs? You know, you go to the police station today. They will refer you to an OB record. Yes. The computer, I don't know, the net is down. You know, so watuta kuingiza kwa hii.
Yes.
We want to register your matter. I mean, in the digital OB. Yeah. Let's do it here first until the network is back. You ask me. I had a matter that was addressed like that in one of the major stations.
Because when you put it in the digital OB,
it goes very far.
It can be seen by everybody.
It goes very far beyond the station, because now there are those who control the IT.
Yes.
And they may not be there, or maybe they could not be within their reach to compromise. So I had to walk away with a piece of paper, and that's it. Just the way it has always been. So that's the current National Police Service. And I'm wondering, what kind of reforms are these?
Yeah, because they should have had a way of having this gentleman taken care of better.
See how quick it took Dr. Chris Murungaru as the CS to transform the issue of transportation. You had the Tumurungarus that came in, the Land Cruisers,
deal with Toyota,
the entry of Land Cruisers, Toyota.
Yes.
It is at that time that the digitally controlled jet fighters were bought from Czechoslovakia. We don't care whether it's Czechoslovakia or China.
Yes.
And at that time, he rejected, turned down offers by the British, which were the 1945 jet fighters, 1960s jet fighters, which actually were picked from the yard, refurbished, and then you were given at not really at a throwaway price. It comes as a grant and whatever. And you know, those shenanigans that the West used to pull with Kenya. And you remember, it is at that time. I remember there was a time we were walked around by the police, tied with a shoelace. I mean, others were tied shirt to shirt.
You look like a guy who's had so many run-ins
my
with the
time,
cops.
my time has always been after 9 o'clock, going back home.
Okay.
It's always after 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So that's how it used to be.
understandable.
So definitely I had to run into them.
Yes.
Because that's the time they started their patrols.
Yes.
So that's how come I used to be. So what I'm saying, being taken around, they could take you around and then
Then you end up in the
release you
forties.
somewhere very far at midnight. If you refuse to
cooperate.
or to cooperate, cooperating is paying.
Yes. They leave you far from where you're going.
Very far from where
That
you're going.
is so annoying.
Pick you from a safe place to a risky place, and that's what used to happen. That was our police force.
Now, let's switch gears a little bit. We look at Wamunyoro. Wamunyoro is already talking about, I mean, he believes he's the kingpin of Central Kenya. On this other side, you have this gentleman, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, who supports the candidacy of Matiang'i in 2027. But the heart of Central Kenya, where is it now?
Question is, what annoyed the people?
Yes.
Leave Gachagua alone. Gachagua is one man with one vote.
Yes.
Uhuru Kenyatta is one man with one vote. You know? And
But with a lot of influence.
their influence is in their money, and their money is there to be eaten by the voters. That's politics.
Yes.
I mean, they will bring the money, we'll eat it. As Kenyans, where we will be, we'll eat their money. But come now to the reality now of the politics of Mount Kenya.
The heart, because I remember when we were voting in Ruto, there was almost something within. You could feel and know this guy.
Come 2024, 2012, 2022. There was a narrative that propelled Ruto to succeed in Mount Kenya. The true history of Mau Mau and the struggle of independence in the Mount Kenya region.
What do you mean the true story of the Mau Mau struggle in the Mount region?
The Mau Maus versus the Home Guards, the collaborators.
The Kenyatas.
That was the difference between the politics of Mount Kenya and politics of the rest of Kenya.
Yes.
The rest of Kenya was seeing Raila Odinga for Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
I mean, under Uhuru Kenyatta. People of Mount Kenya had reached a point where they felt betrayed.
Betrayed by who?
Betrayed by the president, Uhuru Kenyatta.
Oh, okay.
They had reached a point.
Yes.
Because after 2018, there was no match that took place. And it is at that time that Uhuru Kenyatta would release his clause, you know, and give orders, you know, you need to do this, you have to do this.
Yes.
And at some point, you remember there was a time he was, his statement was backed by his mom.
Yes.
Mama Ngina. And at that point, there was a turning point of the politics of Mount Kenya. And Mama Ngina had to pacify this with trying to sweet talk one of the field marshals, Mureithi. And Field Marshal Mureithi, you know, the day she took a shave of her dreadlocks. They swore, we're not cutting the dreadlocks until we feel Uhuru is here.
What?
Freedom. Yeah, that's not the true history.
Yes.
This is the true history.
Yes.
You know, not the one that is written by the Smith and the Whites and the Blacks, the Vincents from the UK.
Yes.
Not that one you're talking about. We're talking about the true history. The Mau Mau will tell you they went to the forest in 1949. And left Kenyatta on the other side to do the politics of negotiating. You talk with them, but we are not with you. We are there to fight. We need our land now.
They were a violent militant.
Yes. By the time they were declaring the state of emergency, war had already taken place and it had already eaten into the state. And the state felt, I think we now need to. You don't call a state of emergency because of rumors.
Yes.
Because of action that had taken place. So that's the history that is not in the books.
So
and
now,
you're talking to the children and grandchildren of those people who are offended, who are working in those concentration camps, who are living in the concentration camps. So when these two, of course, the true history of the struggle favors the Mau Mau as the fighters for independence and others as collaborators. And that's the history, which needs to be revisited, because we have been pumping the wrong history into into our people to believe that this is how it is. So what we're trying to say is, this narrative is what worked in 2022. In 2012,
yes,
remember, Uhuru Kenyatta was not to vie.
Yes.
But
so
he was only
that
declared.
the narrative that we had, home guards and those who fought for independence
under the Mau Mau. That was the politics in that's where you had the Itungatis, the Matigali.
Oh, yeah.
Matigali. You know, when you hear Itungati,
yes.
Itungati are servants. These are servants of the people.
Yes.
You know, these are people who do the cause for the sake of the people. That's what Itungati means.
Yes.
You know, Getugati is a servant.
They're servants who, basically people who work for
them. Yes. They offer themselves to serve. You know, these are Gotugata.
Yes.
That is to serve. You know?
Yes.
So they offer themselves to serve. You could hear of Matigari, Mabaki. Remainder, the survivors of the bullet. Jirongi is bullet. So when you had the politics of Matigali, Jirongi, Matigali, you know, the Matigali is the survivors of the bullet. The bullets and the bombings that the British took against the people of Mount Kenya, who revolted. That's the history you don't see in the history books.
And
you know?
That thing that Wamunyoro keep on saying, Itugati na.
Itugati. Ngati, since they couldn't pronounce guards, they pronounced the name guards as Gati.
So
the home guards, the home Gati, you know, the home Gati, you know.
These are the people who are working, basically working for the colonials.
Those are the working for the colonialists to oppress their own people. So while they were concentrated in those concentration camps, that is where the name Geshagi came from.
Yes.
That is what was called the Geshagi.
The concentration camp.
That concentration camp is what was called Geshagi. If you go to your village, you could find some place where the elderly would refer hale aneho Geshagi gitu, hale aneho Geshagi gitu. You know, that's where our village was. That's where our village was. Too much of the Kikuyu I'm talking right now, because you're talking about that history.
Yes.
That's where we used to live. So you could
go. You are living in a concentration camp.
You are living in a concentration camp. Your farm is there. You go do your farming there,
and then you come back.
Then you come back here. Then the food is taken by the British, taken to some place down here in Ukambani. It's maize. Then they were given those millers, the posho mills, and they would now pack it and take it to the port. That is the history you will never hear about, but it's in our archives. But you'll never be taught. Now, coming back, it is a narrative that drives the politics.
Yes.
You see the cousins' politics?
Yes.
Yeah. It just happens like that. Did you see the hustler politics?
Yes.
Now, from the national scope, it was hustler.
Yes.
From the Mount Kenya scope, it was we versus them. Because Uhuru Kenyatta...
That is the Itugati and the Gats.
Uhuru Kenyatta had already picked somebody who they are able to negotiate. He negotiated with his father, and they agreed in 1969 after those clashes. And the monopoly of, you know, production of the gas cylinders and everything, Spectra. That took place, you know. He negotiated with Moi. They got the Kisumu molasses plant, you know, and many other deals that he has come up with. For whose sake? For the local community? The answer is no. For his family. Now, these families enrich and empower themselves. And it has reached a point where the people have discovered that it's you for yourselves.
You don't.
And when it comes to the votes, it's our votes for you.
That's
the slavery mindset that the Mount Kenya ran away from. That's
what I had in 2022 when you know, Uhuru Kenyatta was pushing Raila.
Yeah.
I would hear old people say that this guy is only interested in the welfare of his people. Of his own family, not the people.
Not the people.
And so they decided.
So when you hear the vocal Kionis and the Ngujiris, these are people we know. Where there's food, they jump there. Wanamwaga mutama huko, wanaenda huko. You know, I mean, they have no consequence.
Yes.
They can shout to the top of their voice.
Yes.
Mount Kenya people have decided that their vote is not a statistic. Atio, you come from wherever, and be given the votes, the 6 million votes.
Is what you're saying
Mount Kenya,
or is Mureithi?
This is Mount Kenya politics.
Yes.
You dig down.
Yeah.
You see, not the few. You see, if I want to do, what do you call it? This scientific...
the surveys.
Surveys.
Yes, opinion polls.
Yes, opinion polls. They come to they come to a place like say CBD,
yes.
talk to 20 people,
yes.
and declare that the 1 million plus people who are there, this is it,
yes.
and they know who they are talking to.
Yes.
So if they're talking about Mount Kenya, they look for a place where we have some Kikuyus, and
yes.
ask them a question that is going to direct the thinking
yes.
of the thinking of the person, so that the response can be favorable, because there's someone who sent you, of course.
Yes.
And that's why people like us in business, we don't go by CAF studies. We send our own to the ground to do their own research. Go do your own research. Yes. Now in politics, go do your own research. Jubilee is not really a Mount Kenya politics, Mount Kenya party.
What, Jubilee?
Jubilee is Uhuru's party.
Yes.
And it was a national party in 2017, which we voted for twice. In favor of who? The president.
Uhuru and Ruto.
Regardless
yes.
of how much he was able to cough out, it was not about the money in Mount Kenya.
Yes.
It was the love.
Yes.
So
has he lost that?
If he never cultivated around the love between 2018 and 2022, which he never did, if he never did that, it's very hard to call up that love, or force that love into the people of Mount Kenya.
So what you're saying is that the heart of the Mount Kenya has already moved from Uhuru.
The heart of Mount Kenya, in terms of politics, it moved from Uhuru. Let me tell you, the tactic being applied when Rigiji is looking for Uhuru Kenyatta is because
yes.
there was a following.
Yes.
There was a following, of course.
Yeah.
And you had to make sure, before you go out there to attack anybody else, you get back to your family. Make sure it's one unit.
So that you're protected.
Yes. Agree to disagree on certain principles that you have not been agreeing upon.
Yes.
You'll deal with it later. And that's why you could see Rigathi Gachagua reaching out to Mama, reaching out to the former president, reaching out to the people who supported the direction that the president had given. We agreed that the 1 million votes come back to this side. One thing is that Wamunyoro has always been telling you that according to him, and this is the reality,
yes,
it's what the people of Mount Kenya want.
Yes.
You know, and if you want to believe, attend the rallies and check out the preparations. These people don't come out there in masses because they're being paid, or there's some money lots of money that ran around at night. Of course, mobilization is always done in politics, but the magnitude is what differs, makes the difference. So with what maybe the government side is doing, it does it like 2-3 days before the D-Day. But here is appearing and the gathering is there. What you're saying is that I know that the force that Wamunyoro has come up with, labeling a tribalist, people like us are able to interpret. When you call somebody a tribalist, it means there is a tribe that he is working with, or supporting, or receiving support from. And when you call him a tribalist, it is everyone who supports him that becomes a tribalist.
Yes.
So the people of Mount Kenya are tribalists. That's not the narrative the KK side would like to have.
In fact, what KK is
they want to
saying,
fight Rigiji as an individual.
Yes. What they're saying, because I've seen a number of them, basically they're talking to people and telling them, hey, we are very open. That guy is not open.
Yeah.
That's where the problem is.
And you see, they're talking about the guy. Who makes the guy powerful? Is the people.
Yes.
They should be pointing their fingers to the people. You know, now that we understand, actually it's not Rigiji you hate.
Yes.
It's the people of the mountain you hate, those who support Rigiji.
Yes.
You know, they're the ones you're calling tribal. We feel insulted. Those of us who support that kind of a position. Everybody has an inclination, must say, whether it's a journalist, whether it's an analyst, whether it's a journalist, and I tell you, people try to say, oh, I'm neutral. No one is neutral.
Yes. You get to a place where you have to choose a side.
You know that they are not the best, but the one who is better than the other. Comparing the two, not with others who are not there. You only compare the ones who are in the limelight. Now, 2012, Uhuru Kenyatta was the unlikely candidate, so unpolished. You know.
Yes.
In terms of even character-wise, he was not ready to become the president. He wasn't ready. And I'm telling you, since I was in the hot politics,
yes,
especially of Othaya, where I was chief campaigner,
yes,
and PA of a very prominent, powerful candidate there, we actually advised Uhuru Kenyatta not to campaign in Mount Kenya. So we don't need your money. This block is yours.
Yes.
So why was he coming to Mount Kenya? It's to reach out to his block.
Yes.
The block which he gave you the confidence is the one now you're telling us, take it away.
Yes.
And Rigathi Gachagua told Matiang'i, go talk to your people. He didn't tell him, go form your party. That's a narrative that has been created by these Jubilee guys. But the Mount Kenya people know that we can only march.
Yes.
Bring your politics on the votes on the table. We agree. Bring your stakes. Yes, make this group strong. Let's be strong together. You know, Matiang'i is an individual, and if we check his track record, he's not really the favorite presidential candidate, but he could be the favorite presidential candidate for Uhuru Kenyatta because maybe towards the end there were lots of good things they may have done together that need this guy around.
He's not the favorite.
He's not the favorite presidential
His
candidate.
name was mentioned severally during the Gen Z's protest.
You see,
and there's a belief that this Gen Z constituency that has not taken votes.
Yes.
In the last election, there were almost 18 million people who did not vote. And then there's a talk, the chances are this 8 million, actually it's 8 million, these 8 million people who did not vote are going to vote.
The Gen Z generation was in class when the CS Matiang'i did the transformation in the Ministry of Education.
Yes.
But when he was given power to wield,
yes,
you know, the sword, that's
yes,
to wield.
Yes.
It's okay. The people who feel he was so careless.
Yes.
Even in his own statements and the way he spoke, the way he addressed, it showed a man who is too rigid. A man,
but at the same time, very effective.
Insecurity,
yes,
insecurity, the effectiveness, insecurity. If you do comparison of what he did in education, it's totally different. If you really go into the real story, and that's what I'm saying, that these are things that the media aired every now and then of what was happening even then. And while he was the CS for Interior.
Yes.
The same Mount Kenya votes you want them to entrust are the same masses that supported the President William Ruto on the side of Rigathi Gachagua. And you're telling them, now it's time for you to vote for Matiang'i. And they did not only hear him, they saw him say and act. You know? They saw the rage that was meted against them during the rallies and all these kind of things. What you're trying to say is that CS Matiang'i is smart, but when you become the smartest guy in the hall, in the room, nobody speaks. And when they speak, you have reasons to overrule what they say. That's CS Matiang'i for president. Now give him the sword, give him the constitution, and give him the power. We want somebody who reasons with the people. Somebody who has time to listen. That's how come Wamunyoro has beaten most of them, because see.
But I don't think there's been, some of my friends basically say they're not ready for, the country's not yet ready for another Kikuyu presidency.
It's not their choice. It's not their choice. Let them put their votes in the ballot. You know, one day I asked the rotational presidency proponents, and asked them, guys, let's do a vote. Please prepare 45 dice so that we can cast them on the table and pick yours on who comes after the next 5 years. We saw that we had to have a span of 400 years to meet the 45 tribes. 400. So which which community is there to wait for 45 years? You know, then is a stupid narrative. Is a stupid
because it moves from one community to the other.
I want to use this word deliberately. It's a stupid narrative that is used to fool people. That ni nyinyi sisi ni wale sisi wale. You understand?
Yes.
Then tell them, okay, let's get to the table.
Yes.
Rusha tu karatasi ya 45.
Yes.
Chagua moja. Kama itakuwa number 39, please ngoja. Times 5. You know? And the people who are telling you to rotate,
yes,
they're the ones who are now two. Okay, so it's not one term. Yes. So you multiply by 10. 45 by 10. That's 450 years. Yes. So what you're saying is that, you see, sometimes when you allow yourself, like now the people who do not understand that they have to use their vote power, when you know that you don't have enough, we find investment partners. Somebody who has the money, and I come with the idea. Then we invest. So what do you have in your hands? Like yes, God asked Moses, what do you have in your hands? And this is the question to every community, including the Ogiek, who are only 15,000. What do you have in your votes? We have this, ensuring that this region is covered. Okay. So come in. This is what we have for you. You know, because if you tell Ogiek to go to wait, if they get number 1, you will hear led by the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, that how can you give Ogiek to rule and we are there, you know, taking number 44 through the Luo community, or the Kikuyu community takes number 41. They will not allow this. So this is a lie peddled to fools. We need to be wiser than that. Okay. So some of these narratives, we just push them aside. And so in conclusion, I think there is no brouhaha in terms of the people who are mashinani of Mount Kenya to where they need to take their vote. But the big kahunas of the community, especially the big guys in politics, they want to have this place, they want to have to side with the place where they believe there's a lot of money that's going to come from there. But we are also ready for the kitchen. Once it opens, they'll be there to
how the menu is going
dish.
to look like.
Of course.
All right, we got to bring the curtains down on this show. Don't forget that in a couple of minutes or so, actually at 9, we're going to have Your Faith Today with Reverend Kavoy. And then at around 2 p.m., you have Manukato with the DJ Sean and Ted. All right? Do have yourself a lovely morning.